gained the point.
You won. I know, if I could go back and do it all again,
I'll win.
who really won? Listen.
You just got there.
It doesn't matter. No, stop. It doesn't matter.
Can I just to say, I had a wife at the time. She spent that money. I don't want you to think I got the money. She spent that money. I didn't get that money. I was like, babe, I won £150. Thank you for letting me out the house.
I know. That's how that happens, to be fair. All right, cool. Casey, thank you. So,
thank you.
TLC is a bit different because everyone's got these poems, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start. Let's start with, because you perform Shampoo Tears. So,
Oh man, I didn't read multiple choice. I just realised. Anyway, carry on.
it's here anyway.
Yeah.
But, so the idea is that you get into it just a bit more. And if anyone's got any questions as well, let us know if you want to add to the discussion or ask anything. How long have we got left just to make sure? Okay, good. Not long. It's going to be a quick one.
Okay.
About 10 minutes.
Causing trouble up here, that's
Yeah.
why.
All right, cool. So, Shampoo Tears. Go on, how did you start?
Yeah, I think I kind of touched on it when I introduced it. I think what it represents, as well as the fact that we find ourselves in these positions where people say, twist up your neck so the shampoo don't go in your eye, and be polite to your teacher even when your teacher's being a fool, or nod and say yes to the policeman because you got to treat the policeman with respect. As well as all of that, which means you end up punishing yourself rather than letting something else punish you. There's the thing of, like, as a parent, I just repeatedly see my kids doing stuff that I know my parents cuss me for, and I'm trying not to just cuss them. I'm trying to give a little bit of something else in there as well. So when my son's like, and he's getting the soap in his eyes and he's crying, and then your parents go, well, that's why I tell you to live up here, girl. So instead I'm trying to say, like, no, I get it, babe, I understand. It's uncomfortable, let's lie you in the bath. I don't know, let's create a different way around this situation, because I don't want to go through life telling my kids basically, make yourself uncomfortable rather than become uncomfortable in the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what inspired the poem.
It's a bit like grinning and bearing it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell them, and sometimes you gotta grin and bear it, but I'm trying to tell them not all the time. And sometimes you can say, that's not how you say my name on the register, and get my name right. Like, so sometimes you can call stuff out and say, nah, you're out of order, or this is wrong. So
I think that's the question I want to ask. So, the way people responded to the poem, we all grew up in that kind of way. So what do you think it will do for your children to have an alternative?
it's a good question, because I can't, whilst I say I want to do these things differently, I can't really fault my parents. And looking at myself and my brothers and my sisters, we ain't done too badly. So we can say, well, you can see where the impact was had. But at the same time, I feel like there's always that tension with your parents. Like, I got tension with my dad about things he would have said or would have done, or how he would have done it, and he feels like I think I know better and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get into that push and pull with my own kids where possible. I'm not gonna be their brethren and say, yeah, do what you want. I am gonna say, be who you want, and I'll try and support you in being it. So I think I'm trying to just be conscious. It comes from, when you were young and you listen to music, your parents always thought your music was trash. Didn't matter what your music was. Oh, you don't know about music. And then you get to about 25 years old and you find yourself telling some 15-year-old, you don't know about music. And in my head I'm like, this just happens again and again and again. Oh, it's the social media, it's the mobile phones, and then 10 years later it's something else, and 10 years later it's something else. And it's never our fault, it's always the kids' fault. So I kind of want to avoid getting into that loop of like, I'm an adult, I know best, everything in your generation's foolishness and all that stuff. So it's all tied in.
I know, it's really weird because that just happens. Like,
yeah.
You just wake up
and the music is trash. No, I'm
Yeah,
joking.
but it really is.
It is trash.
It really is.
The music's trash.
Like, I really believe that.
I don't want to say it to them.
The
You
music.
like Tizio, bro.
Huh?
You like Tizio, bro.
Yeah, no, he's
One or two.
he's a talent though.
One or two.
But for real though, it's like everything's crap. Even at uniform line.
Yeah.
Well, wait till summertime to like dress like their
Dress
friends.
just like your brethren. Why we all gotta wear uniform? Summertime comes now. What you getting? You getting the grey night tracksuit? Let's get the grey night tracksuit. Everybody's got the grey night tracksuit.
No, you know what? And you just become like a grumpy man. I hate motorbikes. I live on a long road.
I hate motorbikes. It's big.
Motorbikes. And these little crossers, these kids. And I tell
These kids
every day, I'm gonna get stones. I'm just gonna go out there with a brick. I'm gonna do it. I really
do it once, send a message.
I know. I always tell myself I'm gonna do it, but just the noise. And years ago, I wouldn't care about it. But my daughter's sleeping, and now I'm like caring about who's in the neighborhood and all this stuff. Like.
And when I was young, I was the person in the neighborhood. I'm the person people are looking out their windows for. Like, that boy's out there again. Now I'm at my window. What's he doing? I don't like him out here. He's up to something. I don't know. That boy is always there.
I've got one more question about shampoo tears. Do you think that the nurturing, because it's about the nurturing, isn't it, of children? The nurturing was based on circumstance, whereas your children now may be separated from that, so you might feel like you don't have to be that.
Yeah, so I had a big conversation with my dad recently because I tried to tell my dad why my dad used to beat me. I tried to intellectualize it for him. And my dad was like, "Who are you talking to? Get beat right now if you're brave." So I was like, "I'm sorry, Dad." And he said we treated you the way that we did because if it didn't happen in his house, it would happen out there. In my life, it happened out there as well, but probably would have been worse. And my kids are not being raised in the environment I was raised in, which is a blessing in one way, but then it means they don't learn certain things that I learned. But my dad always said, you know, his job was to get me home safe and to put me in a position where I could make choices like, do I want to live here or do I want to live there? And that took some serious parenting. So hopefully my kids can just get a little bit more chill because I've done a lot of the work in the front end by saying, I'm still looking out the window at that boy, he's harmless. But I'm still like, kick that ball if you're brave. I said, my car that. I'm about to kick ball around my car that. Sorry.
Does anyone have any questions about this? Yes, Carol.
Yeah, it's not really a question, it's just an observation. It's kind of slightly counter to what you said. I do feel with African Caribbean children, particularly, that sometimes we're repeating intergenerationally harshness. And I'm going to talk tomorrow with a doctor who talks about how black people are perceived in hospital as being able to withstand pain. And I feel some of these things are like from slavery, handed down.
This is what I tried to tell my dad.
And what I'm saying as well is that what you've done and what I've done with my own children is great beside I didn't beat any of my children, and I was castigated by my family.
And people saying it, you should beat them. Who says that about someone else's kids? In hindsight, that's wild, isn't it? You should beat your kids. But we do. When you see them ramping in the shop, you look at someone and say, beat him. No, but...
They said that I would spoil my children, but it wasn't true. People said my children were well-mannered and I found other ways of setting boundaries. And, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
People don't have to keep soldiering it and standing pain and wearing it as a badge.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Sorry, guys.
You know, like with shampoo tears, we wash the granddaughter's hair and she really wild on the place. And I say to Nancy, have a little bit of patience with her because you was nasty too. And then it comes to the pattern of the hair and she's nasty too. But the bottom line is, I think when you start educating your children, my children, I used to bring them to the kitchen table. I used to ask leading questions before they got wise. How was your week at school? Oh, we did such and such. And what else did you do? So I used to feed into what they did, but give them questions, leading questions to find out where they was at and where they was going. Do you know what I mean? And I think that teaching that you have stays with you. It doesn't matter where you go, you have that teaching. When you have children, you pass that on. That is the legacy.
Yeah.
And that legacy stems back from where your parents come from. And from what they knew, they passed that down. And I think writing this shampoo tears, right, I hear enough of it. She's got brain now, she's used to shower. But indirectly, there's a message watching now.
Yeah.
Be brave, be safe. Anything that happens, you can get past that.
Yeah.
And you can walk tall because you've had that teaching, whether it's
100%.
shampoo or plaiting the hair. That's another blue
Plaiting the
one.
hair.
Yeah, thank
I'm not
you.
ready to write that poem after all, man. I'm not.
I'm
not over that
I wrote one.
Thank you, Carol and Valerie, because I guess to summarize what you're both saying about cycles and generational things, Valerie, you said, you know, and that's an echo of what Casey said as well, you know.
Yeah.
We parents could only do what they knew and what they were taught,
Yeah.
but they are not always taught in the right way or the best way to handle things. So when you become a parent, and I hear it in your poetry, a lot of it is about unlearning and rewiring
Yeah.
before you can even start the day to be a parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna get into multiple choice. You didn't read it, but you've all got it. So you've got the words. Would you like to tell us what it's about?
Yeah, so the long and short of what it's about stigma that lives around suicide. People talk about people who have killed themselves and people who think about killing themselves in a very negative way. And the reality is that it doesn't make any sense. It's not, the line in the poem is, it's called multiple choice, and it's like, I used to think the most difficult multiple choice questions are the ones where you thought all the answers could be right. But the real most difficult multiple choice questions are the ones where you look at them and you think all of the answers are wrong, and you still got to pick a choice. And for people who are suicidal, the reality isn't that they want to die, they just don't want to live how they're living anymore, and they can't see a way out, and so they choose to stop living. And the opening line in lots of the poems is inspired by Linkin Park music. So when I wrote these poems, there's a section in my book Adjusted, which is inspired by Linkin Park songs, suicide, and my mum passing away. My mum passed away from cancer. A friend of mine killed himself, and these Linkin Park songs were living in my head from a child when people like me didn't listen to Linkin Park songs. And if I played them too loud, man, will walk past the house and think, "What's he listening to, man? Listen to that guitar music again, blood. How come I listen to guitar music and that, blood?" So, but for some reason it just hit me. I don't know what it was about the music. So now and my mum bought me an album, and she wrote a little note in there: listen to what you want to listen to, be whoever you want to be. And so now I attach that music to my mum, and the lead singer of Linkin Park took his own life on the anniversary of my mum's death. So all of that tied together for me to write this section of poems. I know it's wild. And the first line, "Find a new place to hang this noose," is a line from a Linkin Park poem. A Linkin Park song, "Filthy mouth, no excuse, find a new place to hang this noose." And that line just inspired the whole poem. Anyway, any questions?
Yep.
Just when you mentioned about Lincoln Park, I was having a conversation about there was a spate of suicides, especially in the rock.
Yeah.
Lincoln Park, Soundgarden, and there was also the Club 27. And I said something. It's not hard and fast, but there was like the rappers are killing each other, the rockers are killing themselves.
Yes. Wow.
What do you think about the link between the frequency of music and how it's kind of interpreted?
So the question is the link between. Sorry, say that again.
Music.
The frequency of music in terms of its sonic frequency.
Yeah.
Is there a pattern, or is that just coincidence?
I think it's interesting. I think, but I could be wrong. I would tie it more to the lyrics than the frequency, but I could be wrong. So for me, if I get in the car now and listen to Lil Durk All the Way Home, right, which I wouldn't, it needs to be more good songs, but if I was to drive all the way home, listen to that, I'll pull up at a red light and you're looking at me, I'll probably look at you like this, like, you're looking at me. If I get in my car now and drive all the way home, listen to Linkin Park, I will cry on the way home, guaranteed, no questions asked. Now some of that is because of what I've attached to Linkin Park. Some of that's because the music's sad, the lyrics are sad. And when you listen to it and you deep it, it's like raw, like this. And now when you think about the fact this man took his own life, this man was struggling when he was writing this music, and he's turning it into something that we can all take away from it. But he was struggling through it, and so you listen back to lines like "Find a new place to hang this noose," written by a man who later killed himself by hanging himself. Like, what were you actually dealing with when you were turning this into this? And also, maybe I guess linked to the frequency, but the sound, like Chester Bennington's that is screaming on his song, and I'm screaming in the car. Thankfully the windows are up, no one can hear me, because he makes screaming sound good, and I do not. But I'll be in my car just bawling. If you pull up at the red lights next to me, you're gonna be worried. I'm gonna look across now, are you okay? I'm not either. I'm not. I'm listening to Linkin Park. So yeah, I think the lyrics are. Please,
I think as well as the lyrics, I think obviously me being a musician as well, I think the music does play a big part, because even just the key of a song, right? If you look at gospel music, when gospel music is playing, it allows you to enter a certain place. And I think that's where you then attach your, however you attach to the music. Do you know what I mean?
This is why I'm gonna drive home listening to Tony Braxton. Tony.
Can I just say, do you think maybe alcohol as well? So that mosh pit, if you were in that mosh pit and you hadn't drank anything, would your behaviour be different than if you drank? You know what I mean?
I think it plays a part, but
I'm not
going.
saying it plays a big part, but it plays.
I mean, definitely.
I mean, you have your less inhibited.
Inhibitions, yeah. Wherever there's alcohol, it does impact what's happening, doesn't it? Because we attach ourselves more or less to whatever's going on. Going back to the gospel thing, like when I listen to Governor B, there's a Governor B song, Nothing But the Blood of Jesus, don't know if you know it. If I listen to that song, I would swear to God that I'm a Christian. And there'd be no point in me swearing to God at any other point in time, because he's not listening. But when Nothing But the Blood of Jesus is on, I'm like, nothing but the blood. I don't know why. I pull up to work, listen to that song, I'm like, the blood of Jesus is going to save me today. That's what's going to happen. I get out of the car, I'm like, okay, I'm back in my world, and that don't feel like that anymore. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol.
Just to quickly say, supporting what Buddy was saying, but in the science of music, frequencies are very distant. There's a broad spectrum. A lot depends on the precondition of the person's mental state. I mean, we can listen to really depression, Billie Holiday, we don't feel like we're with suicide. But what can happen with some rock music is it actually mirrors the state of mind and then amplifies it, those frequencies, so that the person actually is confirmed in having
Yes, yeah.
despairing thoughts. Whereas there is a science called somatic,
Yeah.
where if you play a certain tone, it makes beautiful geometric patterns. There are certain frequencies that heal us. So the sound frequency is important, but the lyrics are much more important.
And I think it's the lyrics that makes the tune. And again, I mean, I listen to my kids and things. I have 2 radios on, radio 2 and radio 1 extra. But like, in my house, any job.
Why? Why do you have 2 radios on at the same time?
Sound clash. Things happen on radio on.
But the reason why I have 2 radios on is because I like radio 2 and downstairs they're 1 extra. But the thing is, right, it's about the music, it's about the lyrics, it's about what comes out of it, and it's about how you interpret that and how that sets you up for the day. Like, if I play Bunny Wailer, my kids are like, where are you doing, kitchen? Because that's deep. And when you start getting into Black Art, man, that's another different level. But then if I'm playing like Happy Wanderers and that, I can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the music has a major impact on how you feel. So if you drove home listening to, let's say, Bob Marley, you probably feel a little bit better because it's conscious, it takes you to another level and you can look inside yourself. Now if you went home and listened to something else that was quite deep and down and depressing, you'd probably get out your car and think, wow, I made this journey only beyond me. But it's about the music and the intake.
Yeah.
And
100%.
the intake says a lot about
Yeah.
how you feel to that.
Alright, I've got one got one more. It's a sensitive thing, isn't it? So, it's, you know, how do we even have, and I know I've noticed in a very tactful way we've had the conversation about suicide, but it's gone into the frequency of music, and we're still talking about effects and cause and things. But the second line is stop killing those who already killed themselves. They haven't suffered enough already, carried enough already, died enough already. What do you think? Yeah, I want to hear what you think about the way we respond, the timeline responds, the tabloids responds to suicide.
I think we're set up when it comes to suicide, because when we talk about suicide, we say people commit suicide. I'll never say someone commits suicide. You commit robbery, you commit murder, you commit them because they're crimes. So when I talk about somebody taking their own life, I talk about them taking their own life. But our natural response is to say such and such committed suicide. And immediately we attach onto it like they've done this negative act. When in reality, you could easily say they ended their own life, they took their own life. And from there, it's all downhill. It's always, people feel the need to put themselves in stuff that's got nothing to do with them. I could never do that. Well, no, you probably couldn't, and what a blessing that is. Because you're not in a position where you're even considering that. But for people who, and I say this as a teacher who's worked with students who have been suicidal, unfortunately one of my students took their own life. It's never about people say, oh, you know, what about the people you leave behind, and what about, I cannot imagine, and this is where I think the respect comes from, I personally can't imagine being in a place so dark that I would consider doing that. So rather than me go, I would never do that, I think, wow, I've never felt like that. And I can't imagine what I would do if I did. And I think we just need to have more respect for the fact that sometimes people feel like there's no way out. I live every day of my life, and there's drama, all these good things and all this. I live every day of my life and never think, how do I get out of my life? It's never crossed my mind. How do I change my life? Yeah. What do I need to do? What work do I need to do? What routes do I need to choose? Who do I need to know? What do I need to say? Who do I need to cut off? Who do I need to bring in? All of that. Yeah. But never, how do I get out of my life? And the fact that people are living and thinking that, we just have to stop and go, rah, like, I'm lucky if I've never felt like that, and give some space for people who might feel like that, because the space that we allow them is where we actually help those people back to a position where they don't feel like that anymore. Hopefully. Thank you.
Casey, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for using your poetry in the way that you use it, and using your brain and your voice to always make a point.
Thank you.
Even when he was slewing us that day.
Killing. I was cooking, man.
He was. And every single thing, he was making a point. I was like, I agree, he should really win. Because he was making a point every single time. So, thank you very much. Listen, everyone, it's been amazing. Books are for sale. Okay.
Birmingham needs the money, man. Birmingham, we're bankrupt.
You know what?
Dial 88122 to donate some
money. You know what it is?
to Birmingham.
I'll be very honest. The reason why I got Birmingham is because they keep sending me parking tickets from 2021.
We're struggling.
2022. This has been
we
happening
need that back
for the whole year. I'm going, what's going on in Birmingham?
Send
and
back
then
the
the
money.
news came on. I ain't paid you lot. Now I know what's going on.
This is why we're in debt.
They never paid their equality.
That's not for real.
All right, okay,
for real.
okay. Sorry,
Judgment. To be fair,
judgment. Guys, sorry, I did not mean to do this. Anyway, we are done. Thank you. Clap for yourselves, please. For the team, Abdi, Cole, Andre, the producer, DJ. Thank you.